Hello, fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. I have just returned from the longest road trip I've taken in quite a while. It was a wonderful experience. I was able to visit a lot of places. I was able to meet Jake from Pulp, which was absolutely incredible. And most importantly, I was able to listen to quite a few books as I drove and visit a lot of bookstores. So this is mainly going to be a haul, but also it'll be an update of what you can expect to come up on the channel, because I'm going to talk about some of the things that I read along the way. So my trip started with a 9-hour drive to Texas from Albuquerque, specifically to Denton, where I met Jake from Pulp. Jake's been a good buddy of mine for a while, so it was absolutely incredible to see him in person. I had so much fun. But while I was driving up to see him, what I listened to was this book, The Coming of Conan the Cimmerian, by Robert E. Howard. Wow, even this one has a Stephen King quote on the top. he quotes everything, man. Really cool, fully illustrated book. Of course, I was listening to it on Audible, and it was a really good listen. I really enjoyed it. I'm still listening to this. I haven't gotten through the whole thing. I started with The Phoenix on the Sword and got through The Queen of the Black Coast. I'm a little bit farther than that now, but that's how far I got before I got to Jake's. And I really enjoyed these stories. Some of them more than others, of course, but that's something that I'll go through later when I talk about the stories in this book. So the next day, Jake and I got up early and we went to Cross Plains, Texas. Now, the point of this whole trip was because I wanted to go see the Robert E. Howard Museum and house. This museum is in the house that Robert E. Howard lived in most of his life and wrote all of his stories in. And I very much wanted to see this. While I was in Cross Plains at the Robert E. Howard Museum, there's going to be a video coming up on Monday filming all throughout the museum and house. It was a wonderful trip. But while I was there, I bought a book that you could only get from the Robert E. Howard Museum, and that is A Word from the Outer Dark, which is a selection of the best Robert E. Howard poems. And I think there's 100 or over 100 in here. Yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. So I'm excited to read some poetry from Robert E. Howard. Also, if you are there, they have a book called Cross Plains Pilgrimage. Still don't know what this book is. I'm excited to look into it. I just got back to my house yesterday, so soon I will be looking into this. But if I understand correctly, this is the story of people that visited the house a couple of times while Robert E. Howard was still alive. I'm not sure. So yeah, that if you make a purchase at the gift store, that book comes with it. So that's very cool. I also got a bunch of really fun postcards. Robert E. Howard postcards. El Borak, a guy with a gun and a dinosaur there. And then 2 weird tales. So yeah, that was the haul from the Robert E. Howard Museum. Very cool. We made it home later that evening, and Jake and I went live. I'll put a link to that live in the description. We were both very giddy and excited from just having visited the museum and having a wonderful time. So that's a really fun live. The next day, we woke up and got some breakfast, and then Jake took me to an incredible bookstore, which I just realized I can't remember the name of, so I'll put the name here. This was a 3-story bookstore that had a better selection of books. They're a used bookstore. They had a better selection of books than I think I've seen anywhere. I've seen books that I've gotten great, or stores that I've gotten great hauls from, but this store had authors on their shelves that I never see ever out in the wild. It was a really wonderful book haul. This is going to be the big dog, so let me grab all these and I'll show them to you. Right away, Jake took me to this pulp section that was like gothic horror, science fiction. I mean, it was all the genres that I love, but it was pulp from all of those areas. And one of the things that I found was this early perma book, Life Among the Savages by Shirley Jackson. I absolutely love Shirley Jackson. I collect any of her books I can find. This is a unique book in her bibliography because it's not horror. It is kind of true stories of motherhood, of parenting, and they're supposed to be hilarious. These sold very well for Shirley in her lifetime. So the cover here almost looks Norman Rockwell-y. I'm not sure that it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't say who that front painting is by, but this is a first Perma Books edition, 1955. Next, I found a book called Anima. Looks like it's by Mary Buchanan, and from the publishers of The Other, which was a huge book for Fawcett Crest. So, yeah, I don't know. It just looks scary and weird, so I had to grab it. Old enough that it doesn't have a Stephen King quote on it. I also found 3 books by August Derleth, all of Solar Pawns, his detective Solar Pawns. Now, I don't know if this is the name of the Derleth occult detective or if this is straightforward. Either way, I'm excited to jump into it, to learn more about it. These are books 3, 4, and 5. I wish they had 1, 2, and 3, but they didn't. Great artwork on there. All of them reminiscent kind of Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, I was happy to find these. I grab Derleth when I see him. I grabbed something called Amazing Stories. This is book 3 of Amazing Stories. It's called Portrait in Blood by Mary Kirkhoff. And it looks like it's based on a TV series. It says watch the NBC TV series. This is in like mint condition. This is absolutely incredible. And I liked that skeleton with the paint. And yeah, it just looked really cool. So I grabbed it. I grabbed a couple of Gothic romances. I actually do have a Gothic romance section in my library. These I grabbed for the art and also because Nick said Dorothy Eden is awesome. So here we have Siege in the Sun by Dorothy Eden. And I also got The Shadow Wife by Dorothy Eden. I'm hoping to read a Gothic romance with Nick one of these days. I also grabbed a book by John Christopher. Richard Rempel likes John Christopher and talked about a young adult series he read by him called The Tripods, but I think he also did No Blade of Grass, which is a kind of a post-apocalyptic story. I'd really like to read him, and this was there, and it looked awesome, so I grabbed this, hoping it was a good choice for John Christopher. We'll see. While I was there, I also, and Jake found this one and pointed this out to me, William Hope Hodgson's The Boats of the Glen Carrig, and I loved House on the Borderland so much that I'm looking for anything I can by William Hope Hodgson. I bought this not realizing that I'd already bought a copy through Nick, and the copy I got through Nick is the actual Ballantine Adult Fantasy version that I need for my Ballantine Adult Fantasy collection. So now I'll have 2 of these. This is in really good condition. It's a sphere book, and I absolutely love that cover. So there we go. I now have 2 of those. I didn't realize this, but apparently there was a pulp magazine called A. Merritt's Fantasy. Celebrated Classics of Fantasy. I had to grab this. It's got 3 lines of Old French by A. Merritt. I'm really looking forward to diving into A. Merritt. And I saw this, and I loved the cover, and I thought, man, I have got to check this out. For $9, it seemed like a no-brainer. I got Arthur Macken's The White People and Other Weird Tales. I've had a lot of people tell me that now that I've read The Great God Pan, I absolutely need to read The White People. And now I have a copy of it so that I can do so. I always look for this writer. He's never on the shelves. That is Michael McDowell. They had a copy there of Gilded Needles. I was shocked because I was like, oh my God, there is a McDowell here. He's never in any of the bookstores that I look in. Not only that, they didn't just have one Michael McDowell, they had 2. The other one is called Toplin. I've never heard of Toplin. I've heard of Gilded Needles, but I've never heard of Toplin by Michael McDowell. So there, now I have 2 more Michael McDowells to add to my collection. Also up there was Robert E. Howard's The Savage Tales of Solomon Kane. Had to grab that. It was kind of a Robert E. Howard trip, so now I've got the Conan one and the Solomon Kane, and then I think there's a second Conan book that I need to get the rest of the Conan stories. I'm starting to run out of room there. I'll clean it off in just a second. They had a section of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. I grabbed one of them because it had R.A. Lafferty in it. And I like R.A. Lafferty a lot. I'll grab him when I see him. Here we go. Yoink. Okay, good. It's not blowing up yet. When I first got there, Jake had a double of Seahorse in the Sky by Edmund Cooper. He gave me that. Both Jake and Deb have talked about this book and really liked it, so it seems like something that I've got to read. So that was everything I got from that incredible store. After that, we went to a thrift store that Jake frequents that happens to have a wonderful science fiction section there. And we had just walked in and were looking through the books. And while I was there, somebody yelled out, "Hey, I know you. You're Liminal Spaces." And it was the first time that I have ever been stopped randomly in public by somebody that actually watches the channel. It was incredible. He asked to take a selfie with me, and when he was done, I said, "Okay, can I take a selfie with you?" This is him here. He's a good friend of viewer A-Tops. It was really wonderful to meet him. And when he was done, he gave me a CD. And I think we'll hear from him more on the channel because he was talking about wanting to start to offer music to YouTube channels. I know music is so hard for us creators. I'm lucky because I make a lot of my own music, so but not everybody's that lucky. So yeah, it would be wonderful to start mixing science fiction loving musicians with science fiction loving YouTube creators. So very, very cool to meet him. I really enjoyed that. There was a lot of good stuff there. I'm not going to go over everything I got there because there was stacks. But I did get Samuel R. Delaney's first novel, The Jewels of Aptor. And that looks interesting. His first novel. And then I got another Edmund Cooper, All Fool's Day. I also grabbed a couple of things that Shane, the person that recognized me in the store, talked about. We were throwing books towards each other the whole time. Ian Wallace's Croyd. Not familiar with this at all, but he recommended it, so I grabbed it. He also recommended John Brunner's The Shockwave Rider, so I grabbed that. So yeah, I grabbed those on his recommendation. After hitting those stores, I came back, said goodbye to Jake. We filmed some funny stuff. You should check out Jake's newest video to see the silliness. I'll put a link in the description. And then I took off for Missouri, where I was visiting a family friend. I was hoping to meet Virgil from Literally Books, my co-host on Literally Liminal, and the first YouTube friend I ever made. But he had some family emergency stuff came up, and we weren't able to meet, but we will meet eventually. I'm really looking forward to it. But I was able to spend a few days with a close family friend that has known me since I was like this tall. That was incredibly fun. Toured all around the Ozarks. It was a great time. I didn't get a lot of books. I did go to Springfield the final day I was in Missouri, and we went to a used bookstore and I got some books there. I don't show the DAWs I get. And the reason is because I'm constant. I mean, I got like 30 DAWs on this trip, a lot from Texas, a lot from Missouri. I'm going to put them back there because eventually I want to just show off the DAWs in order. So I don't show off all the DAWs, but I got some DAWs in Missouri. I got a ton of DAWs in Texas, but I did get something really cool. Central High Press from 1921. I don't know Central High, but they put together a small pamphlet that included 2 fairy tales, one from England and one from France. And it just looked like such a cool little publication that I had to grab it. And it's Tom Thumb. And yeah, they just kind of printed it. I don't know if they were studying printmaking or what, but yeah, really incredible stuff. And then also Dualny's The Yellow Dwarf. So I grabbed that for my fairy folktale collection because it's super cool. Yeah, so I got that in Missouri. Had a wonderful time in Missouri. Saw the Lake of the Ozarks, walked along the dam, went to Uranus, Missouri. Yes, that is how they pronounce it when you're there. Look it up. I'll leave it at that. It's absolutely hilarious. And then I headed through Kansas into Colorado to visit my brother who had a birthday that week. So I was able to spend my brother's birthday with him. And while I was driving from Missouri through Kansas to Colorado, which is a 12-hour drive, I listened to A Voyage to Arcturus by David Lindsay. And this was so weird and hallucinatory and mind-bending, and I loved every minute of it. So you can expect me to be talking about this on the channel coming up. It's been recommended to me over and over again. Virgil has been very excited for me to read it. A-Top has been very excited for me to read it. I finally have, and I'm looking forward to talking about that, so you can expect that coming up in the week. While I was in Colorado, it was mostly about family, so I didn't buy a lot of stuff. I only have one book that I got from Colorado that I grabbed just because people keep asking me to try comic books, so I got H.P. Lovecraft's The Hounds and Other Stories, adaptation and artwork by Go Tanabe. So here we go. I'm going to check out a couple of Lovecraft stories in comic book form and see what I think. Also, I've been reading Doom Patrol again recently. I read Doom Patrol when I was young. That was my favorite comic book, the Grant Morrison run of Doom Patrol. So I'm reading that again. I thought I'd talk a little bit about that on the channel eventually as well. So there's the only comic book stuff you'll probably see on my channel. Oh, that's not true. I got this today at an estate sale. Junji Ito. Smashed. I'm not sure if I'm going to like Junji Ito. He seems very gory, but we'll see. I might love him. A lot of people have said that I'll love him, so I'm going to give him a try. See what I think. Last but not least, I got some things from Amazon that I've really wanted to read. I grabbed The Human Cord by Algernon Blackwood because I'm interested in the concept of a full length by him. I really liked the two that I've read, so I thought I would check this out. This is part of the British Library Tales of the Weird, and a lot of European viewers show off this collection, and I'm always really jealous. So I had to grab this one. This whole series I would love to have. It looks like an incredible series. I also got The Factory by Hiroko Oyamada. I loved her novel called The Hole. Did that recently. You can see the video. I'll put the link to it in the description. So I've been very interested. I think this is her debut novel in English. I'm not sure if it's her debut novel in Japanese, but I loved The Hole so much that I'm very much looking forward to reading The Factory. And last but not least, I had to replace a book that I lost a long time ago by Edogawa Rampo. And if that sounded like I just kind of said Edgar Allan Poe, that is because this writer named himself after the Japanese pronunciation of Edgar Allan Poe, Edogawa Rampo. Japanese Tales of Mystery and Imagination. I had this book. I read it way back when, and all so in my opinion, this is the first writer of weird tales from Japan. Now, I didn't study this historically. There's probably weird tales type stuff before, but out of everything I've read from Japan, this one and Kudahashi Yumiko seem to be the weirdest. The only story I remember from this, I think it's the first story in the collection. It is The Human Chair, which is where a guy is turned into or chooses to turn himself into because of his perversion into a chair because he would like ladies to sit on him. Yes, it is that weird. It gets weirder and weirder as this book goes on. It is definitely early Japanese strangeness. There's really cool pictures in this copy. So yeah, this guy is really well known in Japan as kind of the horror weird tales writer from Japan that was so obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe that his pen name was Edogawa Rampo. Yeah, so I'm glad to have this in my collection once again, and I'm looking forward to reading some Japanese weird. So there you go. After that, oh no, one last thing. After that, I left Colorado, and on the way home from my brother's back here to Albuquerque, I listened to Stanislaw Lem's Solaris. And I was able to, because I listened to it on Audible, I was able to listen to it in the new translation, the direct translation. This translation that most of us have known is a translation from the French into English. So there's two steps between the translation. The new one is translated directly and is approved by the Stanislaw Lem estate. And it was an incredible read. So I'll be talking about that in the channel coming up as well. But Monday, you can expect the video that I did all this for, which is me and Jake in Robert E. Howard's house at the Robert E. Howard Museum in Cross Plains, Texas. Once again, thank you to Paul and John and Arlene for allowing us in, letting us film in there. And again, and I'm going to be saying this as I talk about I already took them down. As I talk about the Conan stories that I've read, and I'm going to be saying this on my video on Monday. The Robert E. Howard Museum and House needs your help. If Robert E. Howard has touched your life in any way, please, please, please click the link below and donate to that cause. I'll bring it up a couple more times, especially Monday when I upload the video of my trip to the house with Jake. So, all right, that is all this week. Robert E. Howard video on Monday, and then I'll probably talk about Arcturus next week as well, and then in the weeks coming, some more Conan and some Solaris. Lots of wonderful stuff coming up. Oh, one more thing. It's Dino-Vember. This was started by Andrea at Infinite Text, and I am going to be reading a few Ray Bradbury dinosaur tales to join in the fun. I don't know if the dinosaur tale that I most want to read is in here. I hope it is. I have quite a Ray Bradbury connection, so I'm sure if I don't have it in this one, I have it somewhere. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of dinosaur stuff going on. And this is just a beautiful book. And the foreword is by Ray Harryhausen, who did film special effects, claymation. He did the Clash of the Titans stuff that I love that movie, that early Clash of the Titans movie. Yeah, this has wonderful illustrations throughout. So, Dino-Vember. All right, that's everything for now. I will talk to you guys next time.